y'all have zero idea as far as how real the scramble is when Marvel Studios just go ahead and drops the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer out of nowhere. I think it was supposed to drop today, right, Grace?
See, I had heard it would be coming out yesterday. I didn't know the exact time until I think earlier in the day,
Yeah.
but I believe it was said on Monday or maybe even Sunday that it would come out. So the date I think was on point. And I think the time was till TBD, but I didn't really take the announcement serious because we had like other announcements before saying it was going to happen and it didn't.
Yeah.
So this took us like we're here. This is how
Right.
big we were affected by it.
Listen, we already had an episode this week. We already did this week's episode, but we wanted to surprise y'all with episode 2 for the week. You know what I'm saying? This is actually officially episode 12, and it's going to be a short one because this isn't going to be based off of television shows or movies. This is going to be all about the No Way Home trailer that just came out. So, before we get right into it, let me switch the background up real quick. I got a little Spider-Man background here. And hey, I'm trying to stay on top of it here, okay? So, as far as what we're going to be chatting about is everything that we saw in the No Way Home trailer. And Grace, being that you were too excited yesterday with a little bit of everything, like say I was home, I was actually chilling in my living room. I just downloaded this one game, so I was playing my Xbox, and I was like, why is Grace blowing me up? Because I can feel it in my pocket, like zzz,
Yeah, yeah.
zzz, zzz. All right, I was like, let me see what's going on. So go ahead. I know you couldn't contain your excitement, and just go right into it.
Well, like I said, I think it was earlier in the day that at least I found out that the trailer was going to come out at 5:30. So I kind of had that time like in my head. Um, I'm a mom and I got a lot going on. So I
Mm-hmm.
like forgot and I still got the move, which you guys know about. I kind of forgot about it up until I got a message from a couple people and then I realized, oh my God, that trailer. So I think it was like 5:45 when like I realized. So I was in the middle of the gym, like in the middle of like warming up for my workout. And I'm like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
like I know
What workout? That workout dead?
kettlebells and I'm like taking 5-minute breaks because I'm having to just like watch the trailer. And this trailer gave us a lot,
Mm-hmm.
a lot. It gave us a lot. And I was just so overwhelmed with like excitement that I couldn't contain myself. And I think like my word for word message was like, we need an emergency meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, emergency. What is she going on about? Let's see what's popping. Man, but yeah, like you mentioned, there was a lot going on in the trailer, and um, just from start, because we got the teaser a month or two back, and we were expected to think Otto Octavius is a villain, but here not so much. Like him and Peter Parker and the rest of the Spidey gang are having like a casual conversation to the point to where they're kind of joking at his name, calling him Otto Octavius. I was like, that's kind of messed up. Yeah, that's his name, but yeah, yeah. So yeah, we thought he was more so. I mean, he could be. We don't know as of now, but he could be still a villain. But here, it just looks like he's not a bad guy here. Grace, speak on it.
Yeah, I definitely got that same almost a confusion because I think after the first teaser trailer, that's what we assumed. It's like, okay, he's gonna just be one of the bad guys, one of the Sinister Six for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's funny that they were making that comment about his name because I think that mirrors when Peter was introducing himself to Doctor Strange in Infinity War, and he's like, "Oh, we're using our made-up names," like
Right.
so. That was a very cool like callback to that, I think. But yeah, that kind of threw me by surprise. But then again, it didn't because when you think back to the original trilogy, his character was not just a plain bad. Like I think one of
Right. He
the
wasn't
biggest,
really a bad guy.
yeah, his I believe, and I'm going off of pure memory because I haven't seen the original trilogy in a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe it's like when he's displaying the like the arms, right? There something wrong happened, and then essentially like his wife is killed in that incident, right?
Yeah.
That is kind of the catalyst to him turning to a bad guy. But if I remember, towards by the end of the film, when he's falling to his like death, as
Mm-hmm.
like that one facility, if you will, like collapses down, I feel like I remember him making a comment to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, to the effect of like, I hold no like ill will, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
or kind of realizing what he was doing obviously wasn't gonna fix the fact that his wife is gone. So some resolution in this trailer, we do understand that initially he thinks that this Peter Parker is the Tobey Maguire Peter
Correct.
Parker, his universe,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a snippet where he's like, "You're not Peter." Um, so it raises a lot of questions, and I'm curious to see how it plays out. In that particular scene, though, where they're having that kind of a conversation to allude to the fact that maybe he doesn't have that beef going on, and maybe he's kind of like a middleman in all of this. I think he's in somewhat of a prison. Like it looks like he's in like in a like a I don't want to say container because that makes it sound small, but I thought, or I was under the impression that he was contained in something where they were able to then be able to ask him questions and try to figure out what is going on. And that's kind of what I assumed happened there.
Okay. Well, say as far as what I saw, it looked to me, because initially we get that confusion, right? Of like, I have the image of Doc Ock kind of looking at Peter Parker, and he's confused, like on some, "You're not Peter Parker." So yeah, he was expecting Tobey Maguire, but I have this image here to where it is like a split image of him looking at him, and I'm looking at the arms, these arms that he has, right? Because initially in the original Spider-Man 2, they had a certain color to them, and then in this trailer we see something new kind of growing onto these arms. So it's almost safe to assume that his arms have some type of effect to the nanotechnology of Spider-Man's suit. So I think, if anything, he's found a way to kind of take over that nanotech and add that technology to his arms. So that, if anything, should make him scarier in this movie.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. And it's he'll definitely play like the villain role, but it's like, to what extent is that
Correct.
gonna appear on on film? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think another character who last time we really were breaking down the teaser trailer, I do not think this person was confirmed at the moment. There was some speculation, but that Sandman was going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is now confirmed. We get a visual confirmation, and it is now on the IMDb.
Yeah.
Um, and same with that character, I believe at the end of the film, because his incentive for doing the bad things he had done was for, I believe, getting money for his daughter who was fighting cancer.
Yeah.
And at the end, I think like him and Peter kind of almost have like some similar like a resolution to their conflict, and he just says like, "I just want to save my daughter," or something to that
Yeah.
effect. So I'm really curious to see what the incentive for them to have conflict with this Peter is going to be, because it's one thing for them to be pulled from their own universe, but then what occurs for them to then, you know, team up and then go against this Peter that they have no, prior established beef with. So I'm excited to see all of that. Um, and yes, I definitely agree. It does look like some type of nanotech. Like I'm wondering if, like, say that scene we were discussing a couple seconds ago, was him being entrapped in some type of like, technological little like thing.
Yeah.
As when he escapes, he somehow gets access to that nanotech, because we know Peter has it. So
Well,
I think,
but wait, before we go forward, I do want to get a quick shout out, because our good follower Jesse Pinkman is back, and he says, "What's up? Hope you're having a great day." And he said he still likes how Andrew is denying that he's not in the movie, which is big facts. Like every interview you see is like deny, deny, deny. But we do see something here in the trailer. I didn't catch it at the first 10 glimpses that I watched this trailer, but someone pointed it out today, because a lot of these people on the internet, they they analyze everything, right? And there was a moment to where you see our Spider-Man, Tom Holland. He's leaping forward towards Sandman, Electro, and Lizard, and all of a sudden, I initially thought that the Lizard was like he heard something, he turned his neck or whatnot. But it was too violent of a turn to where someone is saying that he is actually getting punched in the face. Now, with that being said, who knows? Because he was actually the CG was taken out. So who knows that, or who is punching Lizard in the face? It could be Andrew Garfield. It could be, if anything, I'm hoping, just for hope's sake, Venom turns out to be a good guy, and Venom actually fights alongside all of the Spider-Man. But who knows? We don't know. But that just helps us lead to the excitement of the movie going forward.
I'm like freaking out right now. And you know something, I going through all of this, obviously I think a question is like, oh, where will Venom fall in play? Because
Right.
give us that post-credit scene to Venom. Always spoilers, sorry. Post-credit scene to Venom if they weren't going to incorporate it in some way. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out. But I still am leaning towards, I think in that particular quote-unquote mess up from Marvel's part, I think make more sense for it to be one of the other Spider-Men, because we already know Venom will be involved in this film to some degree.
Yeah.
So it load as much of a punch for them to feel the need to remove him from the shot. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
so I still think it's leaning towards the other two Spider-Men, which people have speculated have been kind of cleansed from the posters and from the teaser trailer and from this trailer as well, for the obvious reason of trying to preserve the secret. But I'd like to transition into this. Okay.
You want to transition? Listen, we're on the opposite end of the spectrum from our last show a couple days ago, which now you want to know everything. You want to speak on everything. You can't really accept the fact that it's unknown as far as who is.
No, this is the thing. This is so different. A completely different thing. This is, I feel like, falls very similar to the topic we were kind of discussing in our last stream on how it's like the unknown is what pushes or incentivizes us to, open up the browser, open up the comic books. And I think that's the aspect of Marvel that I love. That's what gets me like this, where it's like family members are messaging me to see if they're like, are you okay? You're like way too into this. I'm like, no, This is my job.
All right. So
I feel like this is the perfect example of what we discussed last time. But on to like Jesse's point, by the way, thank you, my man, for joining into this impromptu stream. We love you. We missed you on the last one. How and why would they put so much in here that you can easily link to other Spider-Man franchises if it's not that they're going to be there? And I'm going to add to that and say, especially when you're trying to manage expectations, that's like a phrase that people have been saying. I know Kevin Feige's been saying it, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield's been everywhere. Like, what is he promoting if not this movie? Why is he even in interviews unless he's in this movie? So that's just kind of it's what I've been saying like since we've started the stream.
I gotcha. Well, I would like to point out one of the images that you sent, actually two of the images that you sent, which is the Peter Parker from Into the Spider-Verse. Okay, and here, this first image, we see Peter Parker in bed with his gut out, eating a piece of pizza, looking up into what it looks like to be like a wormhole. Right now, of this image, just looking at it, because I saw this movie when it initially came out a few years ago, but I mean, you realize that these are similar colorways to let's say the world of the sacred timeline to anything multiverse related. And as you see in this trailer, when Doctor Strange is like, we're gonna get to this a little later, but when he's on the top of the Statue of Liberty, you can see pretty much the same things going on as in what happened almost in Spider-Verse, as far as you could assume that it may be related, and maybe one of these Spider-Men may come out. Maybe Miles Morales just comes out of nowhere. But I feel if that were to happen, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm sorry.
We would love Miles Morales to appear. Let's be real,
Right.
but I don't think we're going to see that in this film. That parallel I was drawing, and I put it on my stories, it's just so it'll be out there if you guys want to check it out. Is that right before Doctor Strange makes that statement of like they're all coming or something along those lines, or you know what, I actually have it written down. Let's quote it directly. They're starting to come through. So he says this specific sentence, and right before that, you have this really beautiful shot of the sky where you have purple like warping that very much resembles the purple effect or warping that we saw in Into the Spideyverse. And Into the Spideyverse is of course a film that whose plot encompasses, you know, different Spider-Man from different Spider-Verses. So I feel like that's just one of those ties that alludes to the fact that they are going to be in this film. Right. And then, of course, you know, that's what we see. And then that's where Doctor Strange has that line. Again, why would they put things that so clearly point to the three Spider-Men being in this film if it's not going to happen? And especially when they're trying to manage expectations. Like if you're trying to manage expectations, you're not going to do this. You know what I mean? And in addition, because I did get, so I got a lot of responses from you guys on Instagram, which I really appreciate. I love the communication, and I love just continuing to, you know, dig deeper in this. But I had a couple people mention that could be an indication of other villains, and I wanted to dive into that. So someone said that instead of that being a reference to the other two Spider-Man coming through, it could be, you know, talking about other villains. We have,
but like. Sorry to interrupt, but like, say initially in this trailer, we get a few different instances to where we see these villains, and let's say in the daytime we do get Doc Ock, and we also see Green Goblin floating, and later on in the trailer, like in another scene, it's nighttime, and now we see these other villains. We see Electro, we see Sandman, and we see Lizard. So it could be under the assumption that, say, by this point when Doctor Strange is starting to come through, that these other villains haven't come through yet. It could just be a point to where eventually, yes, the more villains show up, and then from there, we don't know where it goes, you know?
And that's totally like a possibility. I think what this person was kind of referring to is that more villains apart from the 5 that already been listed. Because that's how we know 5 out of 6 Sinister Six that are going to be in this film. We don't know as of yet if we're going to get a 6th. There's been speculation on that, Venom, other options from that. But let's just say that I feel like they wouldn't be referring to, say, kind of the scenario you were putting out, only because it's like, why would you load that gun for something we already know? You know what I mean? And I mean, they could potentially do it, but I think that's just a dick move on Marvel's part, if that's what it is. And in terms of it potentially being, say, that final villain to complete the lineup of like the Sinister Six for this film, he uses the word they, you know, like they're coming. So unless this is unless this villain is non-binary, like, right. He's referring to multiple people, and is what leads me to assume it's going to be the other two Spider-Men. But a Hammer will always
listen, I love that, and if it came down to it, that would be awesome. But like the way that he's saying that more so with fear, because he follows that, he's like, they're starting to come through and I can't stop it, you know? Yeah. So all in all, like, he is shaken to the point to where he has lost control, and there's nothing that he can do to stop what's coming through. So who knows? It may be the good guys. It may be more bad guys. December 17th, I think is when it's coming out. That's when we're going to find out. So, so yeah.
Today. That is a month from today.
Mm-hmm.
And just on that note, with that same scene, like, I mean, yes, because he does have an ominous tone. That didn't strike me or steer me away from believing it could be the two Spider-Men, only because when you see that overlap into the Spideyverse, it's something that they need to correct, because if, say, they're in their, they're away from their respective universes for long enough, I think something bad happens. They basically die or something of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it may not be the same, like, quote unquote, like, rules to the multiverse, but we obviously know that the fine line between the multiverses it's fragile. There's so much that they don't know. So I think even if it is the two Spider-Men, obviously good guys, it might just be pushing that boundary to a point of, like, breaking, where it's going to be even harder for them to fix the mess. So I feel like it could still allude to them even with that negative tone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm with
yeah,
it. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just being open to all possibilities here.
I'm like, no, there's only one way.
All right, and one parallel that I know you wanted to point out would be the fall of the Spider-Man's love. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, we've seen it two other times. One time we saw with the initial Mary Jane in the Tobey Maguire verse. In the Amazing Spider-Man, we get what's her name?
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen, because I don't know why I just associate her with Black Cat, because I believe her to be Black Cat in the comics. Is that true or no?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I may be wrong. I thought she was, but anywho, the way they did that in the Amazing Spider-Man. Yes, it was supposed to hit and pull on the emotional strings, but I didn't like it. Okay, you're gonna kill off his love, and I guess if anything, if they continue that story, then they could have opened the doors to him eventually meeting a quote unquote MJ, whether if her name is Mary Jane or another type of MJ, you know. But all in all, here we see this new MJ, okay, played by Zendaya. Wait, what's the MJ breakdown here? I forgot her name in this universe.
The way we're introduced to her is I want to say she gives like a different name, but she's like, oh, my MJ, and she's like, oh, I thought you didn't have any friends, and she's like, I do now. You know, that's like how we are officially introduced to her at the end of Homecoming. Mm-hmm. That, you know, confirming that she's going to be our MJ in this.
Right. Yeah. All I'm saying is I'm going to pull up that second image of the two hands here. He better catch her, okay? If we see another death of a Spider Mary Jane, okay? Like, he saved her in the initial Spider-Man universe with Tobey, and he better save her here, okay? Because if Zendaya dies, I'm walking out. I don't want to see any post-credits. Don't even post anything about the post-credits, okay? I'm done with the MCU. So all in all, he better catch her or I'm out. This is going to be the comic cinematic universe starring Grace, and Chill is out. When it comes to DC, I'll just be Team DC.
Oh my, I love not that you're threatening to leave, just that the energy. I love it. Yep. So a couple of things I want to break down on that before we really dive into why I think this snippet is so, like, crazy to have been included in this trailer. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously we did lose Gwen Stacy in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films, and keep in mind that came out before Infinity War, before Endgame, before we were exposed to losing our heroes. Like, we weren't really comfortable with that. And so I think, like, we kind of assume, okay, the stakes are here, but everything will be fine in the end, just some way, you know? And so I think I remember watching that movie for the first time, and yeah, it's like, it tugs at the heartstrings, and you have a little moment of like, oh, is he gonna catch her? But it's like, almost, you know, she will, but when he doesn't, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I remember waiting for that moment of like, because they've done it in other movies where it's like you think they did die, and then they just like wait a little longer, and then it's like gasp, and now they're alive. You know, so I was almost waiting for that to occur in the Amazing Spider-Man, and it didn't, and I was like, oh no, she's dead.
Like
And
you see him catch her like in that clock tower, so you think that she's good, you know, and then all of a sudden that catch snaps her back, and I was like, oh, this is like so disappointed that if anything, Gwen died, and now of course he's gonna go into a dark spiral, especially after the events of that, and then he somehow picks himself up to fight Rhino. But we're not gonna talk about that. This is this movie, okay? This is about No Way Home, and all I'm saying is MJ better stay alive.
yeah, and then the last thing is, I think that hurt me for so long up until I dove into the comics for Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, the Spider-Verse, and that is a component to the comics, so it kind of healed it a little bit for me, but still, it's something we don't like to see. Kind of diving into why this is so significant for them to have included this into the trailer. The stakes are real. We've seen a scenario where MJ lives. We see a scenario where Gwen Stacy dies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's 50-50. We
Mm-hmm.
really do not know. I'm on the side of like, they better not take out Zendaya.
Mm-hmm.
They do this to me, but it's a possibility. And that's what I think is like, this isn't.
This can't be. Listen, this can't be Game of Thrones. Okay, they need to just give me what I want. Give us what we want. Don't do anything like first season. Guess what? We're killing off the main character. Nah, you better keep her. Kevin Feige, my man. I'm gonna find you, bruh.
that route with you, and it really worries me because this isn't Fast and Furious where Dom's gonna like roll up and catch your landing with his super soft hood of his car. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the stakes are actually real, so that's what we're both hoping everything is fine, but that's just insane. And we know that this is such a crucial component to, or just a big component to Peter Parker's stories through everything in the comics and all of the franchises where, like there's a risk to being Spider-Man. There's a responsibility. There's a lot to lose. And you see that like shot for shot, we get shots of Happy, of Aunt May, Zendaya,
Right.
all like danger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like not all of our heroes have to deal with that anxiety of balancing, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Captain America, Iron Man, like their identity meshes with their superhero career path,
Mm-hmm.
where Peter Parker's just doesn't. So it's a portion of like his story that like has always hurt me. I'm like, why can't he just have it all?
Well, say Jesse commented saying Kevin Feige started making mediocre movies. Phase 4 only Shang-Chi is good for Jesse. And say so far in Phase 4 there's only 3 movies total, and that's Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and the Eternals. And I agree with you. Out of all of them, Shang-Chi is my favorite, but I'm not gonna go into how I disagree with with the other 2 because we already did that. And if you want to check that out, we already did that on YouTube. I forgot which episodes it were, but check it out. I'm totally against those 2 movies. But moving forward, just because we're a little bit short on time, I do want to talk about the look of these people real quick. Okay, just because say right now we do have a new look for Electro. Like I have a split image of Electro here from on the right, the Amazing Spider-Man, where he's blue, and then on the left he has more so of the yellow flare to him. And here it looks like his powers is giving him the quote unquote mask that you see in the comics, like the shape of like the lightning bolts that he has in the mask. Here is more so the power kind of being generated from him, and he does have a different look. Like here he has his natural skin tone, and I think before when he was blue, well, as you can see, he doesn't have any facial hair, to where now here he has like a full goatee. So somehow him making it into this universe has transformed him back to more so having a human look as opposed to what he was before.
And I'm wondering if his physical appearance, like the changes in his physical appearance, are going to be explained in that maybe he's not coming directly from the timeline we saw, like this Andrew Garfield be in. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
He like potential. And I'd like to continue on that because I think it's Doctor Strange who says something that all of them, they're destined to die, like fighting Spider-Man. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Um, and if I can recall, there are a few of the five of the Sinister Six that are lined up that didn't die. Like Sandman didn't die fighting Spider-Man. Um, I think he's the only one I can
He's
think
the
of.
only one. He's the because
Yeah,
everyone else like Electro, he got I guess neutrally charged by Andrew Garfield. Lizard died. Green Goblin by his own
Goblin.
glider,
And
and who else? Who else is there? Doc Ock.
Doc.
Oh yeah, we already know him at the bottom of the river. And say when it comes down to a new look, there is one other image I'm going to throw up because initially in the trailer we do see the Green Goblin, and here the Green Goblin at the very beginning looks like his regular self. He has a suit of what he wore in the very first Spider-Man movie, but here in this image here we see a different Green Goblin flying around at night. It looks like he has a similar glider, but he's not wearing a mask. And who knows? I don't know if this is William Defoe. The image is too blurry to show, but who knows? This may very well be another Green Goblin because, like you said, there when Doctor Strange said they're starting to come through. One thing that I like that you mentioned just now, as far as Electro is concerned, that this could very well be another Green Goblin from another universe. Let's say if initially we see William Defoe during the day, they may have found another way Spider-Man, and even Doc Ock to maybe send him back to his universe. And then we may be getting, who knows, another Green Goblin from another universe because that's what Marvel does. They just want to throw some stuff out there, surprise us. But if it is William Dafoe, it's too hard to tell from this image. I'm just saying I'm open to the idea of it being another Green Goblin from another universe.
I could definitely see that happen. We know we're going to see Defoe like at
Yeah.
some point. Like I think that's a like pretty like potential like thing that could occur where it's like we see him maybe in the beginning, but then maybe that line that Doctor Strange says is in reference to maybe additional villains that wear the same mantle but from a different universe, maybe played by a different like actor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could definitely see that happening for sure. Um, hold on, I want to make sure I get all the points. You know, let's see. Oh, going back really quickly to that scene where we see MJ falling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like really pumped about it because I'm like, why would they bring parallels from like other franchises if they're not gonna like bring him into the film? But you guys already know my rant on that. I just wanted to shout out Christian Martinez. That is one of our followers on the IG.
What up, Christian?
The he brought up the theory to me, and I've seen it in other places since then, but he brought up the theory to me that what if we see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man be the one to save MJ, almost like mending the fact that he wasn't able to save Gwen Stacy in his universe. It does look like it's going to be our like Tom Holland Spider-Man just because the suit looks to be his suit.
Right.
But I really love that theory because I feel like that would be so satisfying as people, you know, you and I who were so bothered by Gwen Stacy's death in his franchise. I feel like that would be very very like therapeutic.
Right.
So
I think the last point that I did have right here, because we're getting a little short on time here, is and again the scramble was real. I wasn't able to gather all the images that I wanted to, but one image that I wish I brought up here would be we got a closer look at the black spider suit. Now, with what we saw, one of two of my theories got debunked, which was the Venom made the suit black, which is not the case, because now back to the original theory, it looks like this suit has something mystical about it. This could be something that Doctor Strange helped put together to where now he's controlling. Like I see, like the familiar kind of yellowish gold ring that Doctor Strange kind of wields with his magic powers. But now who knows? Let's say if anything, I won't say Peter is a wizard. Let's say if anything, Friday, or no, you didn't say it's Friday. Who's the AI in the suit?
So his glasses is Edith, but then it was like his suit was Karen.
Karen. Let's say if anything, Karen found a way to wield the magic and made it easier for him, because in that image we see it looks to be Electro in the background, being electrocuted, and who knows, that may be I'm going to throw out a theory here, because it looks eerily similar to how Andrew Garfield got Electro out of here. So if anything, it looks like he may be setting some things right. Like he may be putting Electro back into place to where he does fall to Andrew Garfield. But there's something on his chest, and I didn't realize it at first. The internet pointed it out. You see a phone kind of duct taped to his chest. And you see both of the Spidey gang. You see MJ and his other homie like FaceTiming on his chest. Yeah, so they're there in that image. Thank you, internet, for pointing that out. But like, say with that, it looks like he's taking care of Electro. He's about to perform some magic just to be like on to the next universe or villain that I got to take care of.
That resembles so much of I think Peter in Infinity War and Peter in Homecoming, where he's like documenting his experience in the like interactions with the Avengers. Like he's recording himself as he's like, taking Cap's shield and things like that.
Yeah.
I so believe that this is what he's doing. Like so much is at stake. Mary Jane might die. Aunt May seems like she's in peril. But let's record all of this.
Yeah.
Let's face it,
right.
All in all, like this trailer was incredibly satisfying for me. I feel like it just continues to point to the fact that it's going to be a clash or just a merge of different obviously franchises and versus Spidey versus, but also the other Spider-Man. It's gonna happen.
All right. Well, I would love to end on that. Like again today, we told y'all at the beginning it was going to be a short one. We're coming up on 38 minutes here, but we are going to be back next time. You're gonna see us. We're going to be talking about Hawkeye. I'm seeing more and more stuff as far as trailers and clips pop up. So a little excited about that. More excited about Spider-Man. So keep it locked for that Spider-Man episode, because I know Grace is super excited to just we may make that like a 2.5 3.5 hour this may be the longest episode of the series, because I may be in the theater like taking all the notes. Like I usually kind of write some things down, but usually keep it in my mind, like in memory, but there's too much stuff going on, especially from what we see in this trailer, so I don't want to miss a beat when it comes down to when we're reporting it in our stream. So be on the lookout for that. But until then, Grace, thank you for this impromptu show that you kind of demanded. You were like, let's do this. I was like, oh, there, Grace looking at my phone like, chill out.
It's okay.
Wait, say it again. It didn't come in clear.
I was saying I had a moment yesterday. It's okay. We're good. All
right, we're good. So until next time, this has been episode 12 of the Comic Cinematic Universe. As always, thank you to everybody checking in, and also thank you again to Jesse for the comments, and we always appreciate you, man. Hey, and I'm going to put it out there. Let's say 2022, okay? I'm putting some stuff together now. I know Grace is super excited as far as some possible merch. Okay, I'm currently in the design phase, so be on the lookout. Jesse, I may have to get your contact info and shoot you some stuff. So, be on the lookout for that. But until then, We will catch y'all later. Y'all have a good one. And Grace, later.
Later. I'll see you guys. Thanks. Bye.
Later. Bye.